Hey, who's got to be Daniel? How you doing there,
It
my
is
friend?
Daniel out from the edge. Brother, welcome to the show.
Well, glad to be here. How are you?
Man, I'm outstanding. I'm so good they ought to clone me so there could be a lot more happier people in the world, Roger.
Okay, that's good.
Well, welcome to the program.
Well, we,
Go ahead. Yeah, welcome to the program, Roger. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. Yeah, can you hear me
Very,
okay?
very, very good. Very good. Okay, well, let's get to it. Roger, you started something called the Mudfossil University. Why did you do it, and what's that all about?
Well, it's why I did it was because there was no response to all of the research that was done, and it was very extensive research. And the whole thing started when I discovered that the rocks that I was pulling out of the ground were literally body parts. They were literally pieces of creatures. And and when I realized this, I mean, it was so obvious. They were literally pieces of creatures. And I have a background in chemistry
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of other detail, biology, anatomy, all that stuff. So it was just obvious, and I could see the blood vessels and the different iron, the blood and red blood. The black is where the deoxygenated blood is, and the blood vessels, everything. So I decided, well, this is obviously a giant fingertip from a human being. I mean, it was huge. It was like 10 inches long, and this is just a fingertip, one little tip of the end of a finger. So I contacted a bunch of people, and nobody wanted to see it. They thought I was insane. And I could deal with that. So I ended up discussing it with Yale, and I said, well, will you just take a look at it? And he said, no. So I said, well, what would it take for somebody to take a look at it and even consider it? He said, well, you'd have to have this and CAT scans and DNA and da-da-da-da-da. And I said, all right, I'll do all that. And I did. I had CAT scan. I had DNA analysis done with a certified lab, ancient protocol DNA, all that stuff. I had all that stuff done, and I had an anatomist, a guy that owns his own autopsy school, teaches autopsy all around the world, very well respected. He certified it as well, authenticated it. So I went back to Yale, and they wouldn't talk to me, and Harvard wouldn't talk to me, and all of them wouldn't talk to me. So I presented the DNA test to Yale and Harvard and Max Planck and all of the universities.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single word. So I decided, well, I'm not going to let this go by. So I started assaulting the airwaves. Really, I mean, I got kind of aggressive, and that didn't work either. So then I decided I'd just start my own university, and that's what I did. And literally within a few weeks of making that decision, that was in about 2 years ago, I saw that Harvard and Max Planck had decided that yes, you can get DNA from any mud you want. All the mud is DNA, and it's true. That's correct. But it came out of my mud fossils, out of the mud fossils. The mud is where they're getting their DNA, is out of the mud, which has eroded out from these mud fossils. And they now agree 100% with all of that, only they don't want to talk about these giant human beings. So we got issues there. So that's how this all started, and now I just got a guy today. You don't know about this because nobody else does yet either. I just put up the video 15 minutes ago. I have a guy, Adrian Husbands is his name, and he is an extreme high-end scholar from all of these Royal Academies, all kinds of things. He's got about 20 different things going on over there in England. And he contacted me about this because he actually sets up the test that tests people so that they can test other people. He's very, very, very skilled, and he decided that this cannot continue. And so he's going to present all of this evidence in England and Asia and so forth. He has all these contacts. It's not going to cost me a penny. He's going to handle everything, and he's going to present all this at conferences. So that's how we're going to proceed.
There are references to giants in the Bible. I think there might be an obscure book called the Book of Giants, and then you have the what's supposedly the myths of the Greek Titans. Would you suggest that perhaps these mud fossils are the relics from those days?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit it right on the head, brother. Let me just detail you how I feel about history. All right, and I have done a lot of research, reading, everything. You know, I have come, and I'll give you to the end first. I have come to the conclusion that there is a one huge God that runs everything, or is everything. He is the all, let's say, and he's got a son that is Jesus Christ. That is where I came down to after research, not just guessing and hoping, but it goes a lot deeper than that, because I believe in Gaia too, the Gaia story, which is where she came down literally from the light realm where the light beings are, Jesus and the rest of them, and came down here into the material realm and started this creation, which went terribly wrong. And that's how the whole thing started. And she had the Titans and the Olympians, and all of those were all true. All that stuff was absolutely true. And the Earth is literally constructed of those creatures. Mm-hmm. And as far as I'm concerned, from what I'm reading, they were immortal, and they are coming back.
Whoa.
And I think that is actually occurring. You know, it sounds crazy, but I think it's going to happen. Now, from my research, you can see them in the ground, and I mean, did you got the pictures of them, right? In the video, you know. Well, we don't even have to see the pictures.
Yeah. Now, the only pictures I didn't get was the one with the lights. I did get the other two sets. Now, are you watching the show yourself right now?
Hold on a second. I have it showing offline where I'm at.
Oh, if you go to our website, there's a player in there. It looks like a YouTube box and should have a red triangle in it. If you click on that, you should start seeing the show, and then you can direct me with these pictures. But otherwise, I can describe them to you.
I'm getting a whole bunch of asteroids coming at me.
Okay, that's because you probably got last week's show. You need to refresh your browser.
Yeah, what do you do? Just F5?
Not sure. Turn it off and then turn it back on your browser.
Oh yeah, all right. Hey, okay, F5. That did it. We're in good shape now.
Okay, very good.
How do I?
You see a guy with a white hat?
There. All right, I can see it now.
A guy looking kind of ornery.
That?
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Now you got to the show. All right. Very good. So let's. I'm gonna just go with the first picture, and I'll give the title because you have the titles on each one of those, and looks like the first one will be mummy inside of a statue. Let's get this one up here. What are we looking at here?
There must be some big delay or something.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay, now I got it. Yeah, that right there is a statue that is in Egypt, one of the giant statues. And if you could see the whole thing in its entirety, it's literally one of those statues, has all the hieroglyphs embossed into it, and it's a creature inside of it. It's a human being that was the giant, coated with like a plaster that encased him. And there's a lot of them like this. You see those ribs?
Yeah. Well, let me ask
the rib bone?
Yeah. Are you? Is it likely that, as we discussed the fact of mud fossils, could that have happened because of a worldwide cataclysmic flood, and then when water receded, everything was coated with mud and encased organic matter?
Yeah. Yes and no. Here's the yes part. The flood what happened in the flood was all of these mud fossils, and literally every rock, every single rock on the planet that is a discrete rock, not lava, but a rock that is just a stone, is from a creature that petrified in the Great Flood. And here's the process, and I've done it, I've made them myself. And the way they were preserved and petrified is that in the water of the flood, the volatile organic compounds that explode the body. You've seen bodies bloated and exploded and leaking all kinds of fluids out
sure.
of them.
Love
That
it.
is that is the decay of a body because the volatile compounds inside explode.
Okay.
When they're in the water, those volatile compounds leach into the water, and the thing becomes waterlogged. Now, that preserves it in a mass, and then when it dries out, it solidifies into stones and hard minerals. Now, these things that we're looking at right now, this appears to have been a practice when they just encased people made them into statues. Literally, there's a ton of them like this.
Okay.
That are statues with inside of. They're creatures. The actual mummified guy is inside of a statue. You'd never expect it.
Okay. Let's get a quick question in from Doug White. He says, whatever became of the T-Rex with flesh and bones in Wyoming?
All right. What happened there was Mary Schweitzer. Yeah, Mary Schweitzer went ahead and she did the same thing that I am doing now, but she did it back in about 2005, I think it was. And she took some of the bits and pieces of the inside of a T-Rex bone, and she soaked them in acid, and they came out with the cells. And the cells, she was destroyed for this.
Wow.
That's what happened. They ruined her, and she would not talk to me. I actually had to. There's a big story goes on here, but anyway, she would not discuss it, and she ended up. I think they attacked her. Well, I know they attacked her, and they attacked everybody involved.
Yeah, you talk about out of place objects.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it sounds like out of place objects. If you ever discover one, or if you have any kind of truth or information that goes against the establishment, man, they come at you in full force. Let's get the second picture in here. It looks like we call this muscle mass of some kind. Muscle one. What is it? What are we looking at?
Well, that's just a wall of dirt, really, a mountainside, which is actually muscle tissue. Go right through them. I'll explain them as we go. Just you can click right through them,
okay.
Daniel.
Okay. What do we got here?
So that's the muscle one. And now what do we got next? Let's see.
Okay.
All right, here you go. This is muscle tissue cut on an end side. Now, look at all those little porous holes in there. And now you have the rock that is on the earth that is the same as that muscle tissue you just saw a second ago.
So you're saying that what we're looking at here, the guy hosing this down to keep it clean, I suppose, it goes up through that mountainside?
That's correct. That is the mountainside is flesh.
Wow.
Mountainside is the flesh. This exact same one that you showed a second ago is this of that giant slab of flesh. They're cutting these, for countertops and so forth.
Wow. So you could have a muscle flesh countertop.
Well, I do. Now you see it? That's what it is.
Wow. That's pretty exclusive
and,
there.
And there is no doubt about it. The red blood, and see that little red blood up in the top on the right?
Yeah, I see it.
That sort of stuff will seep in here and there. Now, when we get into the tendinous fibers and the those hex fibers and stuff, that they're all separated, they're separated, and the reason they're separated is that something's called fascia. And fascia is a technical medical term for the coating that is on all of your cells and fibers.
Mm-hmm.
And that coating separates them so that you can slip and slide inside your body. Otherwise, you'd be glued together, literally. The tendons would not even move. So everything is separated inside your body, and when you die and you are petrified in this mud fossil manner, those separations continue. The same separations when you're dead are the ones that you had when you were alive. So that's why all these basalt columns are separated. Those are tendon fibers that are in a person's body.
Okay.
And you see all that stuff as you go through it.
What is this here?
I'm still looking at it. There's a big delay here, so give me a spare.
Yeah,
that is the muscle of a shoulder, and you see where it invests into that yellow strip up above there. That's connective tissue. It's a sinuous connective tissue that attaches to the muscle fiber, which in the next picture you'll see is mountainous. It's exactly that same identical spot right there. Go ahead.
So you're saying this is the same tendons that's in his shoulder?
That's it. Same one. And I have a few other ones that show the same thing. That is muscle tissue.
Is there a guy surfing on that?
Yes, he is.
He's surfing on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's looking good. I hope we can catch a wave or a tendon or something. I don't know how he's doing that over there.
He's on that ridge. He's on that edge of the ridge there.
Uh-huh.
You see his way on that inside?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's definitely some pretty neat looking rocks there. I mean, as far as that goes, but that's not mud though, Roger. That looks like stone to me, isn't it?
It is stone now. What happens is you see all those little separation layers?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the same separation layers that are in muscles. As you just saw that other picture. Now, once they were soaked for I don't know how long in the waters, they dried out. And once they dry out, they keep the same chemistry. The same chemistry is there.
Mm-hmm.
Only all of the organic volatile stuff has been washed away into the waters. And then, of course, it's eroded and so forth now over the course of time. That's why you see the erosion patterns in there.
Mm-hmm.
But that is muscle.
All
and
right.
you see up there, the band between, over on the left-hand side where that band attaches, that's connective tissue. That's connecting that layer of muscle to another layer of muscle.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about this area here? On to the left?
Correct.
Should pop up in a second.
Yep, right.
Right there?
That little line that goes there, right there, that's a connective tissue stripe, where it's pretty obvious if you look at the anatomy. The anatomy, the biology, the chemistry, it's 100%. We go through the rest of them. You'll see it gets more and more obvious as it goes.
What we got here? Muscle Canyon. Should come across.
Can't see it yet, but I'm sure. Yeah, same one. That same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over, and they are some huge structures. You see the same connective tissue up there?
Okay, on the left.
Right at the very end of that tube, as it comes up, and the muscle comes up, and it makes that connective tissue seam there.
Hmm. So, are you saying this was at one time a human or some entity?
Yes. Well, it was a giant creature of some sort. Now there were humans of this size and bigger, and there was other creatures too. Because Crowley Lake, the hair that is in Crowley Lake does not have any sweat glands, and any mammals have sweat glands. And we don't. They don't have sweat glands in the ones in Crowley Lake, and they're gigantic hairs. They're big as trees.
Mm-hmm.
And you see in the front of this picture that we're looking at right now, you see that black spot? That's a vein. That's a little tiny vein vessel.
Okay. So now you talk about in the back.
In the very front, in the very foreground of the picture towards us.
Oh, towards us.
That
Okay.
little black on the bottom left. That no, way up, way towards the front more.
Okay.
Towards us. Anyway, don't worry about that. Let's go on to some more. There'll be more that'll make a lot
All right.
more sense.
Sure. Okay.
And especially when we get into the ones in the tendons. Those are the crazy ones.
All right.
That's the one. Yeah, right in that area. That's
Okay.
the one you're
Okay.
looking.
All right. What we got here?
That's
Coming up. Should be coming up.
all right. Let's see where we're gonna go. There's more muscle mountain. Those stripes in there are from muscle. That's muscle tissue.
All right.
Not
So
much more to say about it. Muscle tissue.
okay. So
You know, if
that's
you look at
muscle tissue. So would you suggest that something like fell down and died and turned into a mountain?
Yeah, absolutely. That creature there. Here's what happens in the muscle tissue. You see how it's like stripy and going out. At a certain point, that's more of a tendinous connective tissue area. It's more structural.
Mm-hmm.
When you get out into the red meat and the muscle, it just erodes away and turns into this red dust that is everywhere.
Mm.
That is the red clays,
Yeah.
and the red dust and the red this and the red everything.
Yeah.
That is muscle tissue, red flesh. It's red
Well,
flesh.
that kind of reminds me of War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, because when the aliens sucked the blood out of humans, they sprayed it all over the landscape, and it became dust. And so,
Well, not only that, it becomes extremely fertile. Blood is absolutely the most fertile thing that you can do.
I can grow me
Not
some
only
vittles in
that,
there. All right, hey, we
You
got
can grow anything.
okay. Let's got a question from Peter from Australia. What would you say to those that would say these patterns are simply due to weathering?
Well, they're not due to weathering. They are the actual tissues that are now weathering, yes. But they are not weathering. If you look at that, you can see that has nothing to do with sediment. That is woven fabric tissue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and in addition to that, I have all the DNA tests on I have 3 DNA tests, ancient protocols, on 2 of them are giants. One's over 200 feet. One is about 60 feet. And one is a standard size human. Mm-hmm. And all 3 of them, dense DNA. And I took them out of the blood. I took them right from the blood vessels. Mm-hmm. So, and they were, the same things were certified by CAT scans and an anatomist. So there's no question.
Okay, Roger, let me ask you, did you tell them what you were trying to prove or disprove, or did you hand them some mud fossils and say, could you check this out and tell me what the root of it is? What's the internal composition? Or did you tell them you were looking for proof that this was a living organism at one time?
Well, I told them that I thought they were, what I thought they were was huge, gigantic humans, and to have them tested out. Mm-hmm. 2 different labs. It was Helix Bio Labs, Helix Paleo Labs, mm-hmm. and then there was Eaton Bio Labs in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And they put them through the sequences. They did all the, it took 3 months to do it. This is not one of those little swabby tests. Mm. This was and they ran it against every database, every creature that was ever.
So it wasn't Ancestry.com type of crap.
No.
Okay. All right. Got a question from Sugarfoot. It says, Roger, if that's the muscle of a giant, where's this bone and skin?
Bone does not preserve. Skin does. Bone does not. Bone is calcium Ca2+. Mm-hmm. It's an extremely volatile. It's exactly the opposite of bone fossils. Mm-hmm. With bone fossils, all the volatile organics go away, and you end up scrappy bones. If in the mud fossils, the mud is what in the water protects the flesh.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, let's get to this picture here. This is picture 1. And what are we looking at here?
I'll tell you in a second.
Oh,
Hold
sorry.
on.
I got to remember that little delay.
Up there it is. Okay. Now, that was the vagina ones.
Whoa.
All right. There should be one that has a vagina, a gigantic vagina. Did you see that picture?
Oh, okay. The one that says biggest?
No, not that one. It's one, Vagina Cave.
Oh, okay. Vagina cave. Let's go. Whoa.
Do that one first.
Okay.
Do that
All right.
one first, and
All
then
right.
we'll go to this.
All right. Here
picture.
comes
Now,
the vagina.
no, not that one. But that's okay.
Okay.
That's a vagina. And
We have a few
little
more.
crack.
So there's the one called
see,
the biggest. Is that?
No, that one there I'll save for later. But that is also a vagina.
Okay.
But see this that runs down the middle, that little tiny slit.
Yeah.
Not the normal vagina, but the little crack in the top.
Yeah.
Go to the one. Go to Vagina Cave, I think it says.
Okay. You want me to bring that one up?
Yes.
Okay. There's some like somebody going into that. Let's see what we got here.
That's a different one. That's not the same one.
Oh, okay. Oh, what's this one here? Looks like somebody's going in there.
That's a vagina too, and somebody's crawling inside. Yeah. But the one that I want you to see is that's a vagina.
Okay. There they go.
Now,
what are they
one
looking
that I
for?
want you to see is the pink one. It's very pink, and obviously it's a vagina.
Okay. All right, thank you. I mean, do you want me to? You got one called Ruby Falls.
No, not that one.
Tissue vestibule 1, 2 micro.
Oh.
Okay. Well, we can keep on going. Here's something in the cave.
It should say. I think it's. I'd have to look up on mine, but. Do you see the pictures?
Which one? Yeah, if you.
That's a vagina, but there's one that's very pink, and it's. I think it just says Vagina Cave on it.
Okay. Well, this says cave 1. Here's some biggest. So I'm not seeing anything but pink in there. Roby, I don't know what that one is.
That's Ruby Falls.
Okay.
All of those are vaginas.
Okay. All right.
They're all over there. Is a vagina. That's a vagina.
Okay.
And you see the rings around there?
Okay.
Okay, that's also.
Got rings around it. No.
You could run right through them, and I'll tell you when to stop on the one.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll just go right down and look. I'll put them in the order that you sent them. This one's called biggest.
That's what I wanted. I sent them through you in the order that I wanted them to be.
Okay. Well, then this is it. This is the first one. And it looks like there's lights going up this shaft. And maybe people standing there.
Those people standing in the vagina.
Okay.
They are standing. Now, you see the way it rings around there?
Yeah.
That is the normal tissue that vagina has. It has those little rings that run around it.
Okay.
And over on the left, on the upper side to the left, that is the seam that seams together that you saw in that first picture with those white things that wrapped around.
Okay, so
Remember
okay, so now they're going up there. What are these people doing in that vagina cave there?
They're just
walking around.
Exploring. Yep, they're just exploring, and that is one of the deepest cave. I think it is the deepest cave on the face of the earth.
Wow.
The earth, I'm telling you, the earth literally made of these things.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the one right. I think we already had this one here, but this is the one we were talking about, and you were talking about some kind of line in there. Looked like somebody crawling in that one too.
Let me just see what you got. No, that crack right there that runs up the side, up the top, that is the seam that fuses together to make the abdominal cavities on people, to make your gut. Now, just go to the next one, and there was one that showed a bunch of different
we
white
we already seen the one.
Around.
Already seen a woman crawling in there. My suggestion is for her to get out of there, but I don't know.
Well, you always go home sooner or later. That one, not that one.
Okay. Okay. Then we got the Ruby Falls. And I kind of like this one here. Let's talk about this one here. Let's talk about old Ruby here. What's going on?
That is another vagina. That crack that runs right up the middle is the seam. And this one here is you see that all of that circular stuff on the sides?
Yeah. What's going on with
all
that?
That seam around, that is vaginal tissue. It has those folds in it. That is the natural vaginal tissue.
Okay. So are you saying that a giant woman fell down into the earth and this is the remains?
She's part of the earth. That's correct. That's what I'm saying.
Kind of like that movie. Wasn't there a movie like a giant woman attacks the earth or something?
I don't know about that, but these are biological remains. That's just keep going through them, and because I can see that it's not working out here, right? But
well, no, it's working out fine. Here's one called tobacco leaves. Roger, what we got here?
Those are fallopian tubes. Those are the tips of the fallopian tubes.
Uh-huh.
If you look at fallopian tubes, that's exactly what they are at the tips. Go to the next one.
Okay. Well, it looks to me like that's a cave, and probably whoever run that cave is trying to tell the viewer that is actual tobacco leaves rather than what your fallopian tubes, as you suggest. Here's
right. Exactly. They're just saying it looks like this and that.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
I understand the anatomy of it. That is the end of the fallopian tubes.
Uh-huh. How do we know they're
right
not?
There is, that the one that you're looking at now with all that squiggly stuff, that is squamous tissue. Just go past that one because that got in there by accident. But that is part of what's inside the gut of people.
Yeah. Okay. What do we got here? We got tissues going on?
That's just tissue, yeah. That's again inside the vaginal tissue.
Okay.
Just keep going on.
Okay.
This once you go into the tendon ones.
Okay, tendon
or the
ones.
Stone balls or something. I forget what I sent you there, but.
Well, not sure about that, Roger. How many sets did you actually send me here?
I sent you 3 or 4, I think.
Well, I know we've gone through the first 2 or nearly to the first 2, but the others wouldn't open it. I couldn't get them out of there, but I can view them. And if you know the name, something that you want to particularly, for instance, the one that have a lot of lights on, that file would not download for something, but the individual pictures are there. I'm not sure what were those light pictures.
Oh, those are the light research that I'm doing about the nature of light and
okay.
Can you show those?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Actually, we need to take a break. We're at the top of the hour, Roger. Let's talk about the Mudfossil University. What can people find there?
Well, all my research is there on Mudfossil University. It's on YouTube, and it is all the videos that I do. I post them there, and it's all the research. It's all DNA. It's all backed up and supported.
Okay. All right, Roger. We're going to turn you down here for a second, and we'll be right back with you in about 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay, good.
All right, everybody, you're watching and/or listening to the Edge Television broadcast. Tonight we have with us Roger Spear talking about Mudfossil University. If you got a question for Roger, click on the Fast Blast link or join him in the live chat. We're going to take 5 minutes. We'll be right back. We'll get those to Roger. Let's go back to our newsmaker line. Roger, are you with us?
I am here, sir.
All right, well, welcome back to the Edge. Well, we were, this show does say it's entertaining, enlightening, and controversial. I think we certainly have hit all 3 tonight with the topic of mud fossils. But as we were discussing in the first hour, I want to get some general context here. The entities that these remains demonstrate would have to be huge. I mean, on the order of what are we talking? A mile high, or 100 feet, or 10 feet? What's the feel for that?
Well, the truth is that they were miles tall, and I know it sounds insane, but Enoch says that they were 3,000 ells tall, which equates to 2.5 miles. Mm-hmm. And I agree with that every bit, because if you look at the structures, especially the tendinous structures, mm-hmm. and I have some pictures that I sent you, and I don't know if you have them there about the tendons and the stone balls. That's not my picture.
No, it's not. I've got some other pictures that it will be of mud fossils as well. Go ahead with your story.
That is not. That's wait. That's Photoshop.
Okay, that's Photoshop. How about this one?
About Photoshop.
How about this one here?
The ones that I sent you are not Photoshop.
Okay. Well, I like a good Photoshop picture. What about this one?
What's that?
I said I like a good Photoshop picture. I Photoshop pictures all the time, so I have a lot of fun with it.
There is a foot. That right there is the ankle of a gigantic human giant. And the reason I can say that is an ankle mm-hmm. is because of if you look at the way it splays out like that in the back, the rings of that are not the rings of a tree.
Oh.
And there is also, if you look correctly and understand the anatomy of blood vessels, you can see that there is a blood vessel. There's several of them. You see the tiny little reddish spot there in the center ring?
Yeah, it's kind of red.
Like a spot, and then you see a white spot to the right of that. Mm-hmm. Those are blood vessels. That has nothing to do with tree rings. Mm-hmm. And Devil's Tower is also a foot from a giant. Mm. And Devil's Tower, the tendinous fibrils mm-hmm. of those little hex fibrils, anything that has hex fibrils was from a creature. That is tendons. Mm-hmm. And if hex fibrils, you'll see they're hex. If you look up tendon fibrils, mm-hmm. they're hex. Now that I can't. That's not my picture. Right. I can't certify that at all. But it could be real. Mm-hmm. I see it. I'm not sure. But I couldn't.
Yeah. Well, that appeared to be a giant foot to me. But again, if that is an ankle, then we're talking about creatures astronomically huge.
Right. And now going to that, you see what you just put up there, Genesis 6.4?
Yeah.
That is the most misunderstood statement in history, and it changes everything there is. Mm-hmm. Because if you read that, what it says is there were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bare children, and became the mighty men which were men of old. Well, that's totally wrong. There was giants in the earth in those days. Those were the men of old, the men of renown. Mm-hmm. And then after that, there was more giants. Mm-hmm. Those were the new giants. Mm-hmm. So this clearly states there was two sets of giants. One was an old set that was in the ground. They were the ground. Mm-hmm. And the new giants were the ones that were drowned in the flood. Now, the ones that were drowned in the flood were, Enoch stated, they were 2.5 miles tall. And I agree with that every bit. And Velikovsky, most people don't understand about him, but if you don't know about Immanuel Velikovsky, mm-hmm. you should write his name down and look him up, Worlds in Collision. Mm-hmm. He did the actual research of going back through history to the museums, to the papyruses, to China, to South America. In 1950, there was no computer. He went and he walked in and he looked in and he saw them and he read them and he archived them, and he wrote that there was supposedly about 400,000 giants when the flood came. Mm.
Well, I mean, if they're 2.5 miles high, I guess is that where we got you walking around with your head in the clouds?
Yeah, apparently. And they it was written that the stars were their tent. That was written in the ancient texts. And all the ancient texts, you know, I like I say, I read them all. Now, if you read Hesiod, who was you know, Works and Days and so forth, he states all of these things that happened in the early days of the earth and how it was formed and all of these creatures and the golden age and the age of you know, the silver age and all of that stuff happened. It all happened. As far as I'm concerned, it was all true.
Okay.
And that right was from the body of a giant. And you see how everything is, it's fertile ground. That is fertile ground. Where there's death, there is fertility. And that's why everybody is there. And you have a lot of water sources because arteries, artesian wells are literally arteries. And they bring up water from below the deep, where the creature had arteries in the ground deep. They flush out because that's the red blood. It flushes right out. And that's why there's water sources on every one of these places where they build. Machu Picchu is built on tendons. This water source plugs its way right up to the top. All of the pyramids were built on tendons. And they have water sources that's flushed right up to the top. They didn't do as much work as they think. And I sent you some pictures that I you know, I'm sure I don't see them about the tendons, but they were. Now that you can stop right there. That one there, I know about that one. That is Mauna Rosa, and that is a petrified giant, and that giant. If you can look, if you had your hat out of the way, you can see his leg, and his leg is you can actually see the connective tissue and the blood and everything that's inside of it coming out. And this was all written about and called, and then you see that white stripe coming down right in the front of his leg. That is a tendinous material that, if you looked up what a leg is made out of, it's identical. All of that red stuff coming out of there is his blood.
Wow.
That's the blood right there you're circling now.
Okay.
That's leaking from his leg, and up above is blood coming out from under his knee, and his the connective tissue running straight down the front of his knee is the tendinous material. Now, it was all written about in Ovid's Metamorphoses. And it was written about exactly what happened to these guys. They were petrified by the Medusa. And I'm going to read to you right now. Hold on.
All right.
I'm going to read to you what it says happened to these guys.
Great.
Oh, hold on. I got to find it. But they were petrified in a war. And I mean, Medusa's head petrified a ton of them. And I believe every word that they're saying about these things in the past, because the information's here. Hold on. Here it is right here. Now, this is from Book 5. Phineas is turned to stone. Now, this is by Ovid. This is like 500, 400 BC. He wrote this.
All right.
And here's exactly what it says. It says, they all deserved the punishment they suffered, except one of Perseus's warriors. While he was fighting on his side, Acontius saw the Gorgon's head. He then took the shape of hardened stone. Astyages struck him with his long sword, thinking he was still alive, and the blade gave a high-pitched ringing noise. While Astyages stood there amazed, the same power transformed him, and he remained there with a wondering look on his marble face. It would take a long time to tell the names of the middle ranks of men. 200 bodies survived the fight. 200 bodies were turned to stone at the sight of the Gorgon's head.
Wow.
And that is written by Ovid in the Metamorphoses.
Wow.
And the Metamorphoses is a book written exactly about turning these people to stone. And they did it for fun. That's another one right there, done for fun.
So you're saying that Medusa really did exist?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question. I mean, these creatures. There's no question these creatures were alive. I have studied these so deeply. If you look at the physiology, the anatomy, the chemistry, the blood vessels, the skin texture, you can't deny. It's not deniable. And then you look at the text; it talks about all this. That's heart muscle there, right there.
Okay, looks like a giant skeleton head here, but
right. But no, it does. It does. I know. I can see that. But to me, I can see a heart structure there myself.
And look, somebody said that maybe get some pictures from Tampon Valley. But let's get to this. This here, Sansui asked a question to you. Roger says, obviously we've had vaginal type of fossils. Has there been any penis type of fossils out there as well?
100%, gigantic ones. And there's been not only that, there's circumcised and non-circumcised.
Okay, well, I guess that covers it all. So they were doing a lot of that back then.
Well, everybody had one. So either you're a man or a woman. They all had one or the other.
Yeah. Okay. So there's obviously I don't know if you're seeing that one, but that's definitely.
I could send you some pictures if you want to see them right now. If you could put them up quick.
Yeah. Well, that giant right there didn't need any Viagra. It doesn't look like to me. So, but I mean, that's definitely that's the uncircumcised. I mean, the one just popped up there. What do you think?
I'm not certain I can tell exactly what that is, right, without seeing more of it. But that's and then again, that I really can't. I have better ones, much better detailed than these.
Oh, okay.
These are structures that you can't really be positive of. I go for the blood vessels, for the anatomy, for the it all has to be there, and 100%. And if it's not there, you can't really claim. Now that I could claim on that. Now the other one to the right, the big one on the right there, that is not, I don't think, a penis. I think that is some form of a tendinous material. But all these things
use your imagination on that one.
In their broad view, you can't just look at one little piece and say, I know that's what it is. You have to really sort of look around the whole area because it was a creature at once.
Oh yeah.
And there will bits and pieces you can tell around it that will have to make sense to the whole.
Okay. Peter asked, can you tell us where Enoch states the heights of those giants?
I can't tell the exact chapter and verse, but he said that they were 3,000 ells tall. Now, they had changed that to 300 ells tall because they just couldn't deal with that. Everything's getting changed. All right, that's a stone ball. You see that stone ball right there?
Okay, I see
that
it.
That is a tendon.
What is that?
Stone ball right there is a tendon enthesis. I know these guys, Samir and all these guys.
Oh yeah, Okay.
I do know about him. I've dealt with him
I didn't see.
And he's working on the Bosnian pyramids.
Oh, okay.
But there's tendinous material, and these balls are invested in flesh and bone, and that is what holds your tendons in. It's microscopic in you. That's that ball.
Well, if that's microscopic, and this is the rendition from the remains of a giant, we're talking more than 2.5 miles high. It seems like to me.
Well, and I agree with that.
They'd be up there grabbing a space shuttle, man. Scotty Good asked a question from our YouTube chat. It says, "Are your pictures are the pictures you sent? Are they carvings? Or are they supposed to be supernatural?"
No, they are actual creatures. They're actual creatures. I wish you had the pictures because, without those pictures, it's nobody's going to ever believe this.
I think we've arrived that already. But I'm just saying, what pictures did you send that we're looking for here?
Hold on. Let's see. I sent a whole batch of them. I sent them over and over because I didn't know you weren't getting them.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you did get them. I don't know. I don't know how you'd find them now, my friend.
Yeah.
But they were. I had linked you to some files. But anyway, now I'm getting all messed up here now, looking for things. I just lost the show. Where are we going to go with this? Let me see if I can find you again here. Oh, Daniel, I'm getting all messed up. I can't find the show again.
That's all right. We're talking about giants. Now, were regular sized humans walking around at the time of these giants and these titans?
Yes, they were. And the reason I can say that is because the 3 different specimens that I took were from the same hole.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, 2 of them were from the same hole. One of them, the gigantic one, was not from the same hole. It was outside of that.
Yeah.
But I had some construction done, and they dug up, had a new office added, and they had a pile of debris off in the woods, and I was going out there getting a bunch of stuff to do some walls around the house.
All right.
And I started to find these things, and they were in there, and I had them DNA tested, so it's not like I knew what they were, seeing them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had them DNA tested, and they were right. And then I had the autopsy.
The people that did Roger, the people that did the DNA test, were they as shocked as you? Well, I guess you were not shocked because you have proof. Were they shocked that it in fact was human DNA, or was it human DNA, or was it alien DNA? I don't know.
Well, let me put it this way. I have a video about it, about the discussion with him, where all he could say was there's 2 regions that were mitochondrial. All they look for is 2 specific regions in this ancient DNA, because they have to enhance it and do all this stuff. Well, the stuff that I sent was directly from the internal parts of the blood vessels, because I knew where they were, and I knew how to get at the actual literal remnants of the blood. And Mary Schweitzer had found out that all you got to do is put a little acid on it. It cracks the bonds, and it liberates the blood cells. And they do that at the lab, but I extracted that. They did that, and they found that it was dense DNA. He said it was very dense for ancient DNA. And that's what they do. It's an ancient protocols DNA lab.
Did the biblical giants that's probably discussed in the Book of Giants and in Enoch and elsewhere, did they roam the earth at the same time as the Titans?
No.
They were different.
No.
Okay.
No. Here's what happened. The Titans were in the ground. They were the earth. All right, so there was giants in the earth in those days. Then they took that dirt. They took that dirt, which is the DNA, and they used the Titan DNA to make Adam. Now, Adam, when they were all made the same size at that time, and from my research, it was about 90 feet tall. Wow. Everybody was that size when it all started out. And Adam was constructed from the Titan DNA. Now, apparently, it would have just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller, which is what has happened to the normal people. But when it mixed with the angel DNA, it went freaking crazy. And they went up through the roof. Imagine. I mean, through the roof.
Whew,
and they never stopped. And then they had to be destroyed. I mean, there was monsters and horrifying things. And the angels came down, 200 of them, and they selected not only women, they took every animal and had sex with everything.
Whoa.
And yeah, oh yeah, they were just absolute insane, crazy things. And because they could change, they were shapeshifters. As far as I could determine, they were divine beings of just like Jesus is. They were light beings, and they came down. They were angels.
Yeah, sound like you're pretty horny too. Well, let me ask you something. So God destroyed them, but where did this technology for this DNA change of these giants? Where did that come from? Did they have knowledge? Was that supernatural knowledge from some demon somewhere? How did they know what to do?
Well, the story is, and it's also been confirmed now by Mauro Bigliano, who is the translator for the Vatican. He's read the ancient texts of some ancient Hebrew, and it's exactly the same text that Sitchin said. The Sumerians were here. The Sumerians and Yahweh was not the God. The God. He was a God, but he was not the God. And this is written in the Vatican texts, and they now are not disputing this. If you look up Mauro Biglino, and you see what he's translated for the Vatican, and he's published for the Vatican, and now he is disclosing this is in the Vatican Library. He read it in the Vatican Library under the auspices of the Pope.
Well,
and he is claiming that this is all. Sitchin was correct. It was the Sumerians who constructed these people.
Let me ask something, Roger Spur. If the giants were literal entities, were fire-breathing dragons real as well?
You know about the one that's in the desert in Morocco. I think you do know about that, don't you? Did you see that?
Yeah. And is that one you sent to me?
Yeah, it's in. Yeah. If you go, all you have to do, and anybody can do this, go to Morocco, go to the Atlas Mountains, and you will see a dragon there. And if you don't see it, I can tell you, go to Lens Crafters, because you got a problem. That dragon is so obvious, and it runs all the way from Morocco, all the way up almost into the Mediterranean. And below that dragon is a giant Leviathan fish. And that giant Leviathan fish is being attacked by that dragon laying in that desert.
Okay. So
below that dragon's fish is Atlantis, which is the eye of the Sahara. And it's Atlantis in the Atlas Mountains. It is on Herodotus's map. In that exact location says Atlantis. It was called out in that location by Plato, and Plato said that when it collapsed, it drained the Sahara Ocean, and you can see it has run out over the top of the eye of the Sahara. Anybody who has Google Earth can do this, and you should do it because it makes it very obvious that all of these things that were written were true. There was a giant dragon there. There was a giant fish. The Leviathan was there. Atlantis is there.
Wow.
It's all there. It's all there, and it's all been just ignored and brushed off because it's too much for them to accept. And it goes to creation. It goes to God. And that is not allowed in those ivory towers. You know, that frosts them because, you know, every one of them that I've ever tried to talk to, the first words out of their mouth was, "Oh, were you some kind of creationist?" I say, no, I'm here for the truth. I'm here for the truth, my friend. If you can't handle the truth, I don't know what your problem is. You know, if they cannot, they really can't talk about this because there is no way to dispute these things exist.
Let me see if I don't know if I got the right picture. I pulled up one looking for the Morocco. See if this is it when it comes up.
I'm not on with you anymore.
Oh, okay. You're not looking. Okay. Well, I Googled Morocco dragon, and it appears to be some sort of island.
No. Here, what you want to do? Can you go on Google Earth?
Yeah, I can go to Google Earth.
Good. Go to Google Earth.
Okay, let's go there.
And just go right over to Morocco.
Okay, let's go over there.
I wish I had get you back up. I'll get you back up. How much time we got?
Okay, we got about 25 minutes or so.
All right.
All right. So where are we going to go here? We want to let's see if I can find out how to get this thing going here. Might be able to do a screenshot of this thing. Let's see here. Don't know.
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
Now,
It looks like I'm
back way out.
Okay, that ain't it. I can't tell. Okay. All right. Well, I may not be able to pull that up, but anyway. So this is not it in my background here, eh? Let's see here.
What's that? Yeah, no, I'm seeing a green back.
Yeah, that ain't it. Okay, there ain't no dragon here. Okay, ain't no damn dragon. Hang on a second. Let's see. Well,
no, what I want you to do is look down on the earth from way up high.
Okay, let me see if I can do this here. Oh man, I got to download this thing. It's on a desktop. I can't. I thought I could just pull it up here.
Hold on. There's the pink vagina right there, brother.
We got it. We got it. Hey, everybody in the YouTube chat was looking for that.
Now, listen to me. Listen to me carefully.
Okay.
Do you see that tiny, tiny, tiny little thin line that runs up the center?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see it?
Yeah. Well, here, let's telestrate this thing here. See if I can get it on the screen there. See. We'll get a color here that can happen. Let's see here. All right. See when I telestrated it. See if is that what you're talking about right there?
The vagina?
Yeah, I've got it on the screen.
Exactly. That little bitty tiny thin split was right down.
Yeah. Right on.
All right, you see it now.
Okay, we see it.
Back out. Go back to the video to the picture that had a white picture just about 2 or 3 back from this one that you showed, and it'll show how that seam comes together to make your stomach. That's the seam that seams together in everybody's gut.
Is that it?
And it cracks open like that. That's the giant one. See, they all have that seam. See, there's the seam again. Keep going back until you hit that white one.
Hit the white one.
It has all the little pictures on it.
Picture. Oh, the graphic? Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Pick one, yeah.
Okay. That's
there it is, right there. Okay. Yeah. That's what happens. You see how that's when you're just barely born and your cell starts to grow. You grow into a little tiny ball, and that ball collapses. And when that ball collapses, it's like a inside-out basketball.
Okay.
And then it seams together, like figure 30 there. Those 2 little pieces will meet together, and there will be a seam there. That cracks open, and you can see it on every one of these vaginas. And that is what happens. That seam opens back up. It's called a vaginal seam. And the reason it opens back up is because the body sort of opens up and swells up a little bit, and everywhere there was fascia, that's exactly the spot.
All right.
It cracks open.
Wow. So
that
thing cracks open.
The only reason I show you that is to show that vagina was not carved. Nobody carved that and put that little crack in there. There's no way to make that crack. The crack developed strictly because it was biological.
So why does that seem to be the main body part that seems to be impregnated in the earth? I mean,
they're everywhere. No, it's not just that. It's all those muscles and the vaginas seem to, for some reason, they don't deteriorate. I mean, they take a licking and keep on ticking. But I
guess they don't deteriorate.
Going. I don't know.
No, I don't know. They just don't deteriorate. I don't know why they would. I mean,
there's different body parts that have a little more structural integrity, let's say.
Yeah.
But tissue in general preserves extremely well. Extremely well. in these kind of wet conditions, in these muddy conditions. They just never realized it. I mean, I have made my own mud fossils.
Oh, how'd you do that?
And all you have to do is take. You can do it yourself, but it takes about a year. You take like chicken tissue or whatever kind of meat you want, and then you soak it in salty water, 7.2 pH approximately, which is about what the ocean waters are and the body waters are, and in like muddy, soupy sort of conditions for a few months, and then you soak it in mud, because it would at that point sink into the mud. Once the waters sort of drain away, they sink into the mud, and mud is what's called a platy polar silicate. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And the finer the mud, the finer the plates. The plates are polar, which means that they're little shingles. They lay on top of each other, and they glue to each other because they're polar. The bodies of these creatures are covered with silicon as the main chemistry of your skin. Silicon is 50 times more silicon in your skin than anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of this skin silicon is SiO2.
Okay.
It bonds the water, silicon dioxide, and turns into a literal casing around the bodies of these creatures. Mm-hmm. It's almost like plating them with cheap, like a cheap ring. Mm-hmm. And then they're encased, and then there's processes that, I'll just throw you a big word, it's called nucleophilic reaction.
Wow.
What happens is they become invaded, and minerals and molecules come in, they take the place of the things that were there, and then they become solid rock. Wow. And at that point, they start to dry out. Mm-hmm. Now, I have evidence, and I have pictures, and I did send them to you, that show they were actually mining the wet flesh. When these things were drying out, they were cutting the wet flesh, and that wet flesh is the reason that the walls in Peru and South America have no space in between them. They literally put them together like wet chunks of mud, of putty.
Well, I really got to question the sanity of people that want to spelunk down a vagina. I mean, why do they do that for us? Is that kind of kinky or what?
Well, it's
what are they doing down
exploration,
there?
Exploration.
What are they exploring, Roger? That's what I'm not getting at. I mean, what are they looking for?
Is what is the origin of this formation? That's what it's all about.
Okay.
I tell you, it is exciting stuff to do. Yeah. Not that it has anything to do with female anatomy, but it's to understand the things that nobody has understood is exciting. And it's people say, oh, the guy's crazy. I say, well, think as they will.
Who thought that?
As soon as they start the investigation, go into my Mudfossil University channel. It makes a big difference, because I have all of this stuff, and I talk about it, and I show it, and I'm demonstrating it of the actual things. And all of these things, I have no evidence on any of these things, but I believe that is a hair. I believe not. And see now, you see an elephant, and it could be, but I see a hair there. The striations of the hair.
Well, let's get back there. What are you seeing here? You're seeing a hair. Yeah.
When you showed that the big tall thing with the striations on there, those little layers. It could be an elephant. I can't say it's not. But that's the thing. I don't have any evidence on this kind of stuff. But when I look at something like sticking up like that has those lines, like almost like bamboo-looking chunks, that is literally hair in a creature. And that hair, I think, is upside down. The root is at the top. But, I mean, I could be 100% wrong on that. I don't know. But the ones that the ones that I do claim that I do know, I know they're right. And if anybody can dispute them, I'd like to see them dispute them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't claim everything. I don't see something and just guess at it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It has to have the anatomy. It has to have the blood. It has to have the blood vessels. It's got to have the biology. The whole thing has to be there. The minerals have to be right. The chemistry, and then you can make a claim.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of things look like a lot of things when you look at them.
Well, they really do. I mean, now the picture that's going to pop up on your screen now, I mean, you say everybody has a different view. I mean, I certainly wouldn't have thought that's some kind of a microscopic thing. I would think it's, I'd be looking for the other one, basically. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Well, now I have the evidence of Arches State Park. I don't know if Arches National Park. They have like a huge tendon ball like that with the tendon strap still attached to it. And I mean, it's like 100 times bigger than that one. And it still has the tendon strap that normally attaches to that. And it goes back up and reaches back up. And then there is several other of these balls around it where the straps have eroded. Mm-hmm. But that's another picture that I sent you. I wish we had them to show, but
yeah,
I know what that is. Yeah. No question what it is. And if you look up tendon enthesis balls, I don't know if you'll say that, but they're tendon enthesis. They're little balls, and there's dozens of them on straps. Mm-hmm. And every place where your body invests into the tissue, it has a whole batch of those balls.
Whole batch of them, huh?
And they're all over the earth.
Wow. Well, now, so they're all over the earth. So they were wiped out by a flood. They're covered with mud. The residue of them is there. So do you agree with the Noah story that only several humans escaped, and so none of the giants did after that? Is that what are your thoughts on that?
No, I don't agree with that at all. I agree that Noah flood happened, and Noah was part of the survivors, but there were other survivors. Yeah, it wasn't just Noah. There was supposed to be 8 people. Well, I don't believe that at all.
Mm-hmm. How many people were there?
Well, I know there was. That's not true because Nimrod was one of Noah's descendants, and he was a giant slayer.
Oh, okay.
His job was to kill giants. Mm-hmm. He fought King Og. Now, that's another thing that has been released from the Vatican is the ancient book of King Og, of Bashar. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No, never have.
He's listed. You've heard of him. Too? He was supposed to be the giant, and he was. And he hated Nimrod, and both of them consumed humans and used them. And I believe that humans were consumed long ago.
You mean they ate them?
Yeah, first of all, the giants ate everything there was before they got flooded. It stayed.
Well, as big as they were, it seemed like they'd be eating big, massive trees like broccoli.
Oh yeah, they'd be eating bowls full of T-Rexes. I mean, it's unbelievable how big they were. Absolutely incredible.
Did these giants run around on T-Rexes?
And they consumed everything on Earth. And then they consumed all the people, and then they consumed each other, and then they drank each other and ate each other's blood. And that's exactly what it says. And I know they must have eaten all the dinosaurs and just everything there was on Earth. Mm-hmm. And then they drowned them.
So who did King Og snack on?
No, Og, O-G, I think it is.
O-G.
They were eating.
Okay.
Yeah, King Og.
Okay.
Og.
Okay, King Og.
They were eating humans. They were eating humans, and they were trading them. They were They call them our smaller selves. That's what the name they had for them. So they were humans, but they were very, very small. Yeah, that's right, King Og.
Okay, so we got it on our King Og. But how many subjects did King Og have?
Oh, I don't know about that, but he had an army. I know that because they were fighting between him and Nimrod. They were terrible enemies against each other, and that's how actually You should read that. Look up the Lost Book of Og when you get a chance, and it will blow your mind. It's the exact.
It's pretty well blown right now, though.
Well, it will blow your mind because it is 100% opposite of Revelations. In Revelations, it says the woman stood on the moon giving birth. The dragon came down to eat the baby. And then you look it up, Revelations 12, the dragon and the woman.
It's in there. It is in there.
She was standing on the moon, giving birth. The dragon swooped in to consume the child. God came down ahead of him, took the child up to his throne, and then Michael came and had a battle with the dragon. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you I came up with. That was when the flood happened, when she broke her waters on the moon. Then, after that, her son was born, and God came and took him. I don't know who that could be, maybe Jesus. Now, after that, red blood fell all over the earth, hydrocarbons. This is all recorded in history. At the same time this was happening, the flood came, then they were all drowned. It came back. Then the Israelites were coming out of Egypt. The blood was falling. The stones were falling. And then the manna fell. That is placenta. Manna is dried milk pellets. Now, if you could come up with a place where milk pellets fell out of heaven from nothing, God bless you. But all of these things fit. The flood from breaking her waters, the blood from the afterbirth, the stones from the umbilical cord. It is literally 100% CaCO3 limestone in a flexible form. And the last thing that fell was the gelatinous lactogenic proteins from the placenta, which would come down on Earth and rain down as pellets of dried milk. Only at night, because during the day, the sunlight would burn them up.
Wow.
So, I'm saying Revelation 12.
I never would have put that together like that. I got to tell you, you've definitely broke some ground here tonight on that one there. But here's the one thing about it: the book of King Og of Bashan left. Somebody left that out of the Bible. That's one of the things that makes me mad is some group somewhere decided what books was going to be in there and what books to leave out. That's always made me mad.
Well, I did a lot of. I have a bunch of different videos about that because I studied all of those Gnostic texts, and they took them out of there. I came up with two possible reasons, but there might be a third. But two possible solid reasons. One of them is that they were private, secret texts, and a lot of it, I agree, they were private correspondences, and a lot of it was secret texts. They were supposed to be secret. Now, the third thing is that they were so outrageous and so unbelievable, and so they were already at the time of Hesiod and Herodotus and Plato and Socrates and all those guys. They were already dismissed all as being ridiculous. So there was no way that they could put that into the Bible and contain credibility, because nobody in the world would ever, ever, ever believe that a dragon was 1,000 miles long, 900 miles long, and that dragon is 900 miles long, and I will eat my keyboard right off this counter if that isn't a dragon. Nobody would ever believe that unless they had Google Earth. Now, you can see it on Google Earth right now. So there is no dispute anymore.
Okay, if somebody's out there got Google Earth out there, Google that. What do you call the Moscow
Atlas Mountains.
dragon?
So just put in Morocco Atlas Mountains.
Okay,
Stay about
all right, somebody send me a
100 miles off of Earth. Look down. You can see the head of the dragon.
Okay.
Follow it down. You'll see all the runoff of the mountain, which is his dead, decaying,
all right, somebody send me a screenshot if anybody's got that
body.
going. Okay.
You'll see his throat. See all the dragon scales.
Oh, okay.
You can follow it all the way down to all the way down almost into the Mediterranean, and you'll continue that dragon tail and the dragon scales all the way down to the other end. And the runoff from it, which is the decomposing putrefying liquids that run off of dead bodies surrounds this creature.
Wow. The runoff from dead bodies surround this dragon because the dragon was cannibalizing giants?
No, because the dragon is decomposing.
Oh, okay. And that's the runoff from its goo as it kind of deteriorates.
Exactly.
Okay, it's the goo of the dragon.
Any coroner will tell you, you look at a dead body, it's been sitting there for a couple of weeks, and there's going to be an effluent will surround it. It's the decomposing bodily fluids that sort of leach away, and they're red and black, and they make a very distinct border around the dying, decomposing creature.
Okay.
And the scales, there's no question. You just have to spend a few minutes.
Yeah, no, I will. I will definitely. I mean, I want to see the dragon. Okay, I've always wanted to see one, so I'm going to look. I'm going to find him. And if I don't get it tonight,
I have that on my website. I got it dozens and dozens of times. I show that because I start off a lot of them by saying, "All right, we know about the dragon, so don't tell me that this stuff is impossible." And then I go into something else.
All righty, here. Look, I can go to your website here. Let me see if I. You say it's on your website?
Yeah, no. Here, I'm going to tell you what.
We got to see the dragon. I want to see this. I want to see the goo spilling out the dragon carcass. I mean.
Yeah, there's no question.
Okay, so I'm looking at your website and I don't see any pictures.
Can I email right now with the link to the video?
Email it right now, just by itself. Don't attach it in any other email, so I know it's just a single email. Let's get a look at this giant.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to get ready. I got to find it.
We will wait. This is just too important. This is absolutely too important. The people out there want to see the giant dragon. That's 900 miles. Now,
hold on here.
Okay.
I'm going to send you the link. Uno momento, mon frere.
Okay, alrighty. Definitely. Send that bad boy over here.
What you're getting right now is the link to the video. Just play that video, and you will see, and I'll tell you exactly where to go on the video to see the dragon.
Okay. Let me see here.
I have found all the things that they
where'd it go?
claim to have been looking for to prove
where'd it go? It seems like it's playing somewhere.
And all the
here you go.
They said about wings.
So let me mute this. Okay, so you're doing a pointer there. I can do a screen grab here. Hang on.
Here, 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm going to bring it up. I see your finger there. Oh, okay. Something appears to be
the head of that dragon.
Okay, hang on. We almost got it. I do see a head of a dragon. It's coming through, people. We're going to be checking this out here. And I've got it captured. And
now,
let's get it on.
If you play that forward, and you'll see, I go right down his neck.
Okay.
I show all the little fluty things, his eye.
Okay, got it.
I show where there's this very red eye.
All righty, got the eye. Okay, I just grabbed it. I'm going to get everything out of the way so we can clearly see. There appears to be, I think I used a telestrator here to do this. Let's see. So we're looking at, it looks like the head of the dragon. Is this it right here?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm not with you, but if you just let it play, you'll see I go right down his throat, and I go all the way down, showing the dragon scales and all his decomposing liquids coming off his body, all the way down through his guts, all the way to the Mediterranean.
Yeah, it's all coming.
And then I show the fish, and then I show Atlantis. It's all on this video. It's called Dragon Details That Will Blow You Away.
Love the dragon details. So yeah, I mean that's it right there. So you got good. So you're saying this thing is there only one dragon on the earth? Is this the only dragon?
No. There's one on the Appalachian Mountains. It's a dragon. The whole thing is 850 miles long. It ends up going down. The reason I found the dragon on the East Coast was because of Ruby Falls. And that I was looking for Ruby Falls. I said, "Holy shit!" And I started looking at the Appalachian Mountains. It's all dragons. And the dragons all over South America. I have videos on all these.
Oh yeah.
And there is nobody on the face of the planet that can dispute this. So what I'm getting at is once you realize that there is truth beyond what you could possibly even imagine. It's and by the way, I go so deep into the details of this dragon that I went through his bodily anatomy, and it has what's called a cloaca, and it does not have the normal digestive system of creatures that it's like a bird. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
It has a cloaca, which means that it dumps together both the feces and the urine come together just like a bird, and it squirts it out. Ew. And it did and where it squirts it out, it is the anal tract.
Whoa.
And it's loaded with this stuff, and there's a huge population living right in that bird guano, right in that final tract. And then he pooped out the other end while he was dying, because that's what happens to creatures.
And they're right.
And he pooped it right out. Now, if you're watching this, I don't know if you're watching or not.
I'm trying to see if I can get this thing to play. See if I can grab this video. Now, okay. So now, what did he poop out? Now I forgot.
He just pooped just like any animal does when they're dying. I follow it right through his digestive tract from the beginning all the way out to the end. And the stuff that he's spitting out on the fish is identical to certain types of snake venom.
We'll see here. See if I can capture this here. I'm still trying to see if I can capture it, but I don't know if I can here. But let me
what do you mean capture?
I was going to try to get your video here and playing in the background, but I don't think I can capture it and stream it at the same time. Wow. So let's get to a wrap up of the giants eating things and 900-mile dragons taking a poop. So what you're saying is that what we've been taught is basically a lie, and you've got so much evidence in your Mud Fossil University. Is that what kind of a...
Exactly. I'm going to tell you this, and this is a fact. Not a single syllable that has been taught is correct in the theoretical realm. Geology is 100% wrong. Not a single statement made about geology is correct. Space is 100% wrong. Comets are meat. Comet 67P is a tendon enthesis in space, 3 miles big, and it's a tendon enthesis. I've done all the anatomy on it. I've done everything. They put a lander out there. It did the chemistry. It is all biology, and even NASA says that it is so complex biology that they don't even know how to give it a name. That's right from them. It's 100% organic, and it's so complex they don't know how to give it a name. Well, I know how to give it a name because I do the chemistry, and I looked at the chemistry, and it's all hydrocarbons, silicon, iron, aluminum. It's all the exact identical stuff that is in you. And that is from the battles in space, I think. I have a meteorite here that is saturated with blood. Saturated with blood.
Wow.
I could take it out. I could get DNA out of there for a month.
How do you know
and
it's not
they
a piece
will
of
not
poop?
paint it. I've contacted, and they know me who I am. All of them, every one of these people. NASA, Johnson Space Center, Harvard, Yale. I've fought with every one of them. Johns Hopkins, my own teacher at Johns Hopkins, Stephen Salzberg, refused and demeaned me within 8 minutes of all of my research. And he was my genomics professor. And they know that they're in trouble. And they know that they've been just frauds, and they just stick it with the line. They will not confront me. They're hiding.
Yeah. Can't imagine why. Roger.
And now I have a guy, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I have a guy that a very, very polished guy from England. He's a scholar, PhD, and he teaches people how to find out who's smart enough And he got a hold of me. He says, we can't let this continue. He says, this has got to be known. This has to be known. He's going to be presenting for me in England and Asia. We just
Roger, do you what is your spiritual belief system or background? Are you Christian? Are you a spiritualist? Are you a giant
Christian now,
cologist?
because I know that from all my texts and my reading and every bit of the things that I've done, Jesus is absolutely exactly what he said he was. He's the Son of God. He was born in space as the Son of God. He was born to Mary on earth divinely as the Son of Man. His body fell from the sky. He is the bread of life. His body fell out of the sky and fed the Israelites in the desert. And he said that to them. He said, my body fed your people in the desert. And they said, you're a freaking nut. You're crazy. How could you possibly say this? And he said, stop your grumbling. Go about your business, something like that. He was a good guy. I loved the sayings. And he told him, he says, I fed, and you cannot, I am the bread of life.
Okay.
He said these things.
Well, he did. He did say that. I didn't read where he said he fell out of the sky, but hey, I don't know.
Oh yeah, read it. He says, I was the manna that fed your, whatever it was. It was that. I can't put the exact statement there, but and it also says that the people that are teaching us are in deep shit. I don't know if you know this, but in Peter 2:24, it talks about this. It says, Peter 2:24, in their greed, these false teachers will exploit you with tales they have concocted. Their long-standing verdict against them remains in force, and their destruction does not sleep. Now listen to this part. And it says, if God did not spare the angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell, delivering them in chains of darkness. Now remember this, delivering them into chains to be held in gloomy darkness until their judgment. Now, remember that again. Held in chains of gloomy darkness until their judgment. They are no longer in gloomy darkness. They're in the light of day. I don't care how you can cut this. They are known to have existed. I have them in my shop. I'm looking at them right now.
Whoa. What are you looking at?
The giants.
They're in your office?
I am looking at pictures that were in the ground. I have the giants right here in my shop.
Could you get them? Could
we
talk to one of them? Could you get one on the line for me?
Which giants?
Does any of them want to talk?
These were the... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do any of those giants want to get on the line here and talk?
Well, they're talking to me. The rocks are screaming out. Ask Luke 19:40. You ever hear that one? Luke 19:40. See, I never read any of this stuff until it just fell at me, brother. Luke 19:40. And as he approached the descent from the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of disciples began to praise God, joyful in a loud voice for all the miracles they had seen. Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest. But some of the Pharisees, which are the teachers, in the crowd said to him, Teacher, rebuke your disciples. And what did he say? He said, I tell you, he answered, if they remain silent, the very stones will cry out.
Okay, that is in there.
And they have remained so silent and so devoid of any obligation towards God that they're so in trouble, and they just have no clue about eternity. No clue. Eternity is eternity. That's not a 15-minute sit in a corner and shut up for 15 minutes. That is the rest of your eternity. Toast.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't want to see these guys coming out of these mud fossils and being reanimated and start pooping all over the planet. Listen, Roger Spur, appreciate you coming on the Edge Television broadcast. Anything you'd like to say to wrap it up? You go right ahead for a minute or two.
Just all I want to do is say thank you for the opportunity, and I just hope that people will come to Mudfossil University. There's hundreds, literally hundreds of videos up there, and they don't just go about mud fossils, because that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's everything. It's everything. It's energy. It's free energy.
Oh yeah.
It's power and how to rejuvenate the soils. I got stuff about energy and light and the 5G, the problem with the 5G that's coming up.
Right on.
That's microwave radiation. They're going to be blasting through your own neighborhoods so you can get videos. It's microwaves. It's not supposed to be on Earth. That's the Earth blocks that radiation. It's not supposed to be allowed here. And they're putting it here, and they have to force it. They're going to put a tower every 300 meters. Because it will not go through the atmosphere. It's not allowed. The atmosphere does not want it here.
No.
I mean, there's all kinds of things. But anyway, it's it's a deep world we're living in.
All right. Okay. All right.
Daniel, and you did a great job. I appreciate it. Very good approach at how you handled me, because I'm not easily handled.
All right. Well, I was glad to handle you correctly there, Roger. Can we have you on again sometime?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well,
next time though, you gotta have the pictures. We gotta get some because where do you see the stuff? If you could dig up the pictures, I was saying, or when you get up to the website. Here's one that everybody should look at when you get up to Mudfossil University. Look up mud fossils, pliable walls, pliable something or other. Because I put down, did the ancient world build with pliable building material or something like that, because they cut out these slabs of wet tissues. That's what they built with. And the tracks are there, machine tracks, not feet tracks, machines, actual machines, no question whatsoever. Look it up. Did they use pliable? Look up mud fossils and pliable, and you'll find it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming on the program tonight, Roger.
Okay, brother. Thank you.
You bet.
All right. God bless everybody. Thank you so much for everybody listening.
Okay. Bye-bye.